Hello and welcome to Thinking with Objects, lecture number 4, abstract and generic classes. So this lecture here will be sort of split up in two. So the first part will be about something called abstract classes, which is basically classes that aren't finished, so we will have to so we can't really create objects from them. Might seem a bit weird. And then we have generic classes, which are, well, they are not really finished either, so when we create objects from them we need to specify some more things to them, more than just the constructor. But well, before we get into the abstract classes, I'm going to get back to this thing, the game we had in lecture number 2, right? So if you don't remember, it's just a simple game here. We can move around by doing this and get into different areas like this, and then we have some mines there in the map. And as you also can see, I have something called show inventory that didn't exist last time, so that's sort of what we're going to do next. It doesn't work, it's going to crash if I click there. And it's also a bit different from the last time. For instance, the location doesn't include like the warp zone and anything. The warp zone itself is its own class, because the last lecture was about subclasses. So we have like a mine, warp zone, and also a loot, and that's what all of this is going to be about. So the loot here wants to have an item, and then when we step on the item itself, then we want the player to pick that item up. But the player doesn't have an inventory yet, and the item class doesn't exist. So that's what I'm going to construct here as an introduction, and then a bit further into it, I will show you how we can use abstract classes to sort of make this item system a bit better, right? So what we need to do is have a constructor here for the item. And what I want to have is one symbol, so that's the symbol that is going to be shown on the map, and then one string that is the name. So those are the only things that we need for a specific item at the moment, right? So private sure symbol like this. There you go. We don't need that. This dot symbol equals the symbol like this. And finally, the name. There you go. So it should be fairly simple, this part here. But then we also want the player to be able to use it. So we have imported the player there. So public boolean actually use item. So the boolean value is going to represent if the player was successfully used or not. So if it has been used completely, then we return true and consumes the item. So that's the point. That's what we want. Return true to consume the item, or like remove it. We could, yeah, do remove like that. Okay, so that's one thing. We might want to return the things here as well. Public char get map symbol like that, and that's just returning the symbol. So that's, if we take a look on the loot class, which is a location here, it's getting the symbol from the actual item to display that. So far there's nothing new here. We just use some subclasses that we spoke about in last lecture. So this is sort of a quick summary of those things. So we have the location here still, and then we extend that with the location. Oh, well, with the loot. Sorry, like that. Right, and then we want to return the name as well, so we can display that when we check the inventory. Get name. There you go. So this is a very simple base item. It doesn't do anything when we use it, and it just has a symbol and a name. Right. We also want the player to be able to pick an item up, and we have that here, but it doesn't do anything, and we don't really have an inventory. So let's create an inventory for the player, and we will see in the next part of the lecture, when we talk about generic class. I'm going to introduce a quite neat way to do this, the inventory itself. But at the moment, I'm just going to have an item array called items, and I'm just going to tell you, well, the inventory is well, it's 10 items long. It's always 10 items long, no matter what, right? And what we will have to do then is, well, here's our items, return those, and finally we can see if we can pick that item up. So to do so, we can simply loop through the items that we do have and see if we find an empty spot. And if there's an empty spot, then we put the item there and return that, well, we managed to actually pick this item up. You can remove it from the map. So if items at that position equals null, nothing. So if that's the case, then we want to return true, and we also want to set items at that position to be equals to the item we have here as parameter. So now the player can pick up an item, we can get the items from the player, and we have a very simple item class here where we can use an item and we can get the name and the map symbol. Sweet. So let's see if this works. I forgot to declare the field there. Here we go. Ish. Yeah. We really need to return something here. So by default, it fails to use the item because, well, there's no item here, or like there's no specific code for the item. So now if you run this program like this, we have the same thing as we had before, but we can go and show the inventory like this. It's totally empty, so you can't really do anything. Go back to the map. Okay. So what we might want to do is actually add something there somewhere. So let's add where is it? Here. Let's do like map.setLocation, like we did back in lecture 2. As you can see here, I'm adding the warp zones, I'm adding the mines. So let's add that in the house. So in the house I want to add at 4.1 new loot, and then I just add an item here, like that. And as you can remember, I need to specify the symbol and the name. So I want a health potion. Okay, so you can pick that up. Compile, and it shouldn't be any more than just that. That should do the trick. Here we go. So let's go and pick that up, and then move up, and then grab the health potion. There you go. So now if I show my inventory, the health potion is there at the first item. I can't use it. So why can't I use it? Well, there's no code for using the item yet. So that's the next part. So now we have an inventory. Now it's just a matter of down here checking what we should do. So what it does is simply it loops through all the items that it gets from the player, and then it gets the item in that specific location. And if if we have an item, then we can just display the item. And if we don't have an item, so we check if the item is not equals to null here, and if the opposite, then we just display empty. Remember, if we have null as a value, then we can't call that method. So we can't do like null.getName. That wouldn't work, so therefore it would crash. So therefore we make sure that if we have an item, then we print out the name, otherwise we print out empty. Right. And then we just get the options. So here, if it's a valid option, what do we want to do? Well, we want the user to activate the item, to use the item. But first we need to make sure that this item is indeed a valid item. And when it is not valid, well, if we don't have anything there. So first of all, we need to make sure that it's not equals to null, okay? And then we need to make sure that we use it. And how do we use it? Well, use item, like that. And then we give it the player that we're currently using, because that's the player that should use it. So why am I doing it like this? Well, first of all, we make sure that the item is not null. And in Java, if we have a logical AND here, then if the first part is false, which in this case would be the case if the item was null, then we don't care about checking the other part. So we're just making sure that we actually can use the item. So when we've checked that, if we can use the item, then we will use the item. And if that returns true, remember we defined it so this is going to return true if we want to remove the item, so we have used it for the last time. So if it does that, then we want to set items option -1 equals null. So it will still use the item even if this doesn't return true. But if it returns true, then we will also want to reset it. Okay, so if I run the program now, actually there won't be any difference. So if I go right, I go up to this little house thingy here. Here you go. Grab that one. I can show my inventory, and I have a health potion there. I can use it, but nothing happens. Why? Well, there's no functionality in a health potion because it's just an item. It always returns true. Nothing is going to happen. It's not going to do anything whatsoever. And how do we solve this? Well, I would sort of recommend adding a subclass called like health potion that we can use. And we're soon going to see where the abstract classes come into this. Why we want to use them. So if we make a new item here called health potion, so public class health potion, and we might want to we want to extend item for to start with, extends item. But what we also might want to do is put it in the correct package, so that's the item package, and we want to import the player so we can actually use something with the player. Right? And what do we want when we create a health potion? Well, we should get like the name of the health potion. We might have a small health potion, a big health potion, a normal health potion, so the name of it is fine. And then the amount of uses we have, or well, let's start with the health we get from it, and then the amount of uses. I'm not actually giving it a symbol, because, well, let's use an H each time we have a health potion, and then we send along the name. Private int health, and then we have private int uses left, and private int max uses, right? So we have the health we get from each use, and then the amount of uses we have, and the amount of uses we have to start with. And if we do it like that, then we can store it something like this actually. So first just a simple one, the health one, let's store that. But then we can do something like this if we want to. Max uses equals uses left equals uses. So this is just a trick because the value I want here, that should be the max uses. There you go, sorry. Max uses and the uses left at the same time. So what we do is we store uses in uses left, and then we use that value to store that in max uses. Of course, we could do that in multiple lines, but here I just use one line to shrink it down because I'm lazy. Right. So what do we want to do? Well, what I want to do is to spell that correct first, but return the name, which we already do, but I want to return it a bit differently. But first, like the super.getName, so we get the normal name from the superclass. So like I said, this is a bit of a summary of what we've gone through before with subclasses before, and we'll soon approach the abstract classes because they are quite related to subclasses. You can't work with abstract classes if you don't know what subclasses are. So uses left and max uses like this. Okay. So the only thing that I do here is to add a little tag here afterwards telling us how many uses we have left of this potion and how many we had to start with. But that's not the important part. That's just for making it easier to use to see how many things we have. But what we're missing here is the use item thing, because when we want to use an item, then we obviously want to do something properly, not just tell it that nothing happened and then be done with it like we did here. We don't do anything. We just tell the game that used it that well you should keep this item. I don't want to remove it. We didn't use it properly. Blah blah blah, something like that. So what we want to do is tell the player to heal. Right? A health potion heals the player with the current amount of health that the potion has been assigned. Seems like something that makes sense, right? And then we want to decrease the amount of uses that we have left because we use it once, okay? And finally, we want to return whether this item has been completely consumed or not. So how do we do that? Well, if we don't have any uses left, then it should be consumed. Okay, this seems easy enough, right? So we have a constructor here, we do that little trick there to save it the users here we get as both the max users and the users left. We extend the get name to add some extra information, and then we extend this use item to actually give it a healing effect. So subclasses there seems to be working. So I'm going to save it there. Okay, it's not working. And that is because I told it that, well, the package is item, but it should be items. So it told me, well, the file is not where it's supposed to be. So make sure that you type things correct. That's important. So now if we run it, we wouldn't see a difference because this, where is it? This health potion here is still, well, it's still an item and not a health potion. So what we can do is like new health potion like this, and instead we give it the name, the amount of uses, and no, that's the health, and that's the amount of uses. So you can use it 3 times, and each time you use it, you are healed 3. Okay, and here I can add something else just next to it called J, and that's junk. Okay, fair enough. Run the game. Let's see how it works now. Right, so if I go to the right here, and then I go up, there you go, and if I pick up the health potion, then I can show my inventory, and I have a health potion there, 3 out of 3 uses left. If I go back and go to the right, I'm going to pick up the junk as well, whatever that is. There you go, so now I have junk in the second slot, and a health potion in the first. So let's use the health potion, 2 out of 3 uses left. 2 out of 3 turns into 1 out of 3, and finally it's removed. Yes, because in the health potion we return true if we don't have any uses left. Okay, so now we have a working item, but why do I have junk there? I can't do anything with it, right? It doesn't do anything. And just to make sure, if I go back, so our current health is 25, so that seems to be working. So we started with 10, and then we added 5 times 3, and yeah, that seems to be working. Right, so let's see what we can do with abstract classes now, because it doesn't really make sense, that junk thing. What is it going to do? It's just going to be in my inventory and take up space. Because items, in my opinion, items should always do something. It could be like you put it on the wall and just have it for decoration, or you drink it as a potion. It could be a map, a book to start a quest, it could be a weapon or something. But you should be able to use it somehow, right? So it doesn't make sense to make something of this item. So if we have the item class, it doesn't make sense to make an object from it, like I did with the junk. It doesn't make any sense to just have junk there. And we can prevent this from happening. So you are not allowed to make any items. And to do so, you might have guessed it, I define it as abstract. So now I have a public abstract class. If I compile it now, I will get an error here when I create a junk. So items.item is abstract, cannot be instantiated, and that means that we can't make an instance of it, which means we can't create an object, so we can't do new item like that. But note that the health potion, that's all fine. We can still make health potions. So why can we make health potions? Well, that's a subclass. So since health potion is a subclass to item, we can still do it, even though it's a subclass to items. But we can't make a item that, well, that just do well directly from item, because it doesn't do anything. It doesn't make sense. We haven't defined how to use the item itself. Right, but here we do that. We tell it, well, if you want to make a health potion, that's all right with me. It's going to be used like this. So when the player is using it, the player should be healed. We should decrease the amount of uses, and finally, it should be consumed if we're out of uses. Looks perfectly fine. So now we will have to remove the junk here because it doesn't work, and that's the point. But so why would we want to prevent this? Well, there's one reason why we would want to prevent this. Well, you can do it in other instances as well, but the common one is because we might want to make a method abstract as well. So what does this mean? A method that is abstract means that it doesn't have a body at all. So it doesn't have any content here. As you can see, I just type public abstract boolean UseItem and then player. So we have the scope and then abstract, just because we wanted abstract, the return type, the name, and then the parameters. So nothing else. It's not supposed to be anything else there. And the reason why we don't have to define what this method does, obviously when we write a method we usually have to define what it does, because it's a method. When we run it we want to see what it does. But the reason why we don't have to do it is because it's abstract and we put it in an abstract class. Since we can't create an object from an abstract class, we can't create this item here, the junk item, and since we can't create it, we will never be able to call this method here, this method called UseItem. So we will never be able to use an item that is just an item, because those objects do not exist, because we prevented you from creating them using abstract here. So if we remove abstract here, it's going to complain, because we have something called abstract inside the class itself, but we still allow the user, or well, the coder, to make items, like create objects of this class. So that's the main reason why you would make a class abstract. You prevent the user or the coder from creating instances of this class, which allows us to, well, type methods that aren't really finished. So that was what I was talking about in the beginning. We have methods that we haven't finished. We have classes we haven't finished. So if I compile it, it still works. And why is that? Why does the health potion work? Well, what we do here is that we actually finish the class, the item class. We extend the item class with the health potion, and then we finish it by overriding UseItem and actually give it content. So here we give the content to the item. So therefore, if we create a health potion, we can use that item because we actually define what's going to happen. What happens if I remove this UseItem part? Well, all of a sudden this health potion is not valid anymore, because it's an item. We extend item, and the item class is abstract. We can't make any items of that one, but we have a method there that is not finished, that we have to finish before we can create objects. And if we don't finish that in our health potion, then we would have to make that abstract. So therefore we can't create health potions either. But that's not what we want. We want to finish the item class by adding UseItem here. And by finish, I don't mean that that we're going to add it in the item class or anything, because we just having health potion that finishes the class doesn't make sense. So we can have like health potion, we can have disarm kit to disarm the mines, you know. So then that's going to define how the item is used, and therefore we can make health potions and disarm kits, but we can't make just pure items because they don't do anything. So let's see another example of this. By instead of having a health potion, I'm just going to create a potion instead. So we have it like a more standard potion that we can sort of do different things with. So the only difference now is that we remove the health part of this. So no reason to save the health. We still want to show the users left, okay? And finally, we don't want to heal the player. But what do we want to do? We want to like do something for the player, right? So what I want to do is activate potion effect, and then we do that. But what is the potion effect? Public void activate potion effect. So what should that be? Oh, obviously we want a player as well, so we can activate the potion effect of the player. So what do we do? What do you put in the body? Well, we don't know what the potion effect is going to be, so let's ignore the body, make this abstract. So we have a public abstract void activate potion effect, and then we give it a player. So what does this mean? Well, this means that we haven't finished this potion class. We're defining, well, you can have multiple users, and we were going to show the multiple users, and then we're going to decrease the users return if we're finished, like we used the whole potion. but we're also going to activate the effect. So we can't create this, it's not finished, we don't know the effect, so therefore we make this abstract. And just to make sure, I'm actually going to add a symbol here as well. Because, well, all potions shouldn't have H as the symbol, because, well, that would be weird. There you go. So now if I save this as a potion, instead, like that, yep, there you go. Then if we create this as a potion, here we go. What does it need? It needs a symbol, a name, and a amount of uses. So I want to have a H there. Here you go. Of course I can't create this. I can't create an object like this, a new potion. That doesn't work because it's abstract. And it's abstract because if we take a look in here, where it is, there you go. As you can see here, we don't know how to activate this potion effect. What is the potion effect of this thing? We don't know what does happens there, but we know if we activate an item that is a potion, if we use the item of a potion, what we do is that we activate the effect and then decrease things here. We have no clue what the effect might be. It might be healing, it might be teleportation, instant death, poison, slowness, sickness, it could be anything. So it's abstract, it's not finished. So what we'll have to do is to create a health potion class, right? So we had one before, but another one that extends the potion effect. Well, the potion. And that's going to be in the items package. And then we might need to import the player as well. So units.player. Here we go. Health potion extends potion. And then we want to use it to define a few different things. Right? Public health potion. And we need the name of the potion. We might have multiple types of health potion. And then the health, like that, and finally the uses we have. Okay. And we do super and give it the H there, our standard symbol for the health potion. And then the name and finally the uses. So that's going to be sent to the superclass, which of course is the potion, and that's going to be storing that so we can print it out properly, and then we do it like that. And finally we will have to save the health. There you go. Right. So when we have that, what do we need to do? Well, we need to, well, if we hit compile now and save it, which might be something that is good, it's going to complain, well, it's going to complain about that thing. So let's remove that for now, but it's also going to complain about this thing. Why? Well, it's not abstract, so that it means that we can create it. Well, we should be able to create it, but we're not overriding all the abstract methods. So what abstract methods do we have? Let's take a look. Well, in item we have the UseItem one. And then we check in the subclass, which is potion, but here we override that, so that's fine. We override it as something that's not abstract, so that's fine. So we should be fine with that one. But if we take a look here, we have one more here, and that's the one we need to override. So you need to override each and every abstract method somewhere to be able to create it, and that's the point. So remove abstract there and give it a body instead. So what do we want to do? Well, it's very, very simple. We want to do player.heal. There you go. So this is the only path in the health potion class. There you go. So it's extending potion, so we get this with juices. You can drink it, and it's going to be consumed when you drank the last path. And let's take a look. Wherever that is. There you go. Give me an example. So now we can add this again, but of course we want to create a new health potion, and it should be called health potion, and we give it 5 and 3. And just because I'm going to add another I can remove the junk, another health potion like that, a bit further away. That is like I don't know, tiny health potion like that, and that's just going to heal you 1, but 3 times the, oh, well, you got 2 times 2. So we can just define that like so, and then if we compile it, it should work properly. We can run it. Okay. I need more space there. There you go. That should be enough. We can almost see everything. Move right there to the door up there. So we get into the house, and there you go, 2 different health potions. We can't see a difference on this map, obviously, but if I pick them both up, I can then see them in the inventory. I have health potion, 3 out of 3 uses, and tiny health potion, 2 out of 2 uses. And what I want to use is the health potion like that. So now I should have 25 health, and then if I use the other potion there 2 times and go back to map, it has 20. Well, I have 29 health. Right, so what we've done is first we have an item class which you can't create objects from for one reason, and the reason why we can't use it is because we haven't defined how to use it. So we haven't defined how to use the item, and therefore we can't use the item as an object. And then we have a potion here which we can't use either as an object because we haven't defined how the potion works, like what effects to add, what effects to apply to the player. And then we actually have something that overrides the final thing that is abstract, which is the health potion, and therefore we can use it. Okay, seems legit. What if we do it like this? So what if I want to add another potion? House.set location. So this is like a house with a lot of goodies. And I want to create a new loot. That's just the location that we want to have something on. A new potion. So now you might think, well, wasn't that abstract? Well, it is, so we can't create anything here, but we might try. Okay, and the name should be recall potion. And then what I'm going to do is, how many users should we have? 5 is fine, I think. Okay, so this is not going to work, obviously, because potion is abstract. But from the last lecture, we spoke about not only normal subclasses, we also spoke about anonymous subclasses. So even though this is abstract, well, since it's abstract, we need to override it. But we can do that with an abstract class. So we normally just create it there, but then we want to modify it a bit using this abstract class. And what do we want to add? Well, the only part that it's missing, if we go and check the potion here, is the activate potion effect. So what we could do is simply add that here. So override, just to make sure, public void activate, what was it, potion effect, and then we use the player like so. And what do we want to do? This recall potion is supposed to actually teleport us. I think that's a good thing. It should teleport us to the house, so in front of the house. So how do we do that? Well, we get the map, and then we well, actually not. We do player.warp2, I think it's called, and then we give it the map. And finally location, that should be the same as we get when we step out of the house. So 8, 1. So there you go, that should totally work, which it does, so that's nice, nothing wrong there. So here all of a sudden I'm creating a new object of a potion. You might think it looks like that because it says new potion, blah blah blah, but it's not. Since I'm creating this anonymous class, I'm extending it, adding this part here. I'm not giving this part any name. I'm not creating a class that is named, and that's why it's an anonymous class. But I'm still overriding the method, the abstract method that we have in potion, the only one, which is activate potion effect. And since I'm overriding that, it's totally fine to do this. I'm overriding it. I'm telling it when we use this potion, we want the player to warp to the map at this position, which is just outside the house. So let's see how that works. Run it. Okay, so let's go into the house with all the goodies and move up here. So just grab all this stuff like that, and then we move to the right. Here we go. So now, if I show the inventory now, I have health potion, recall potion, and tiny health potion like that. So if I do, well, use my recall potion now, and then you go back to the map, as you can see, I'm now there, just in front of the door. Well, it's an O, but you know, that's to show the door. And if I go away a bit here, I can then use my recall potion again. So I take another sip, and all of a sudden I'm back there. And as you can see, it's being used like this. So it's being used as a normal potion because we're extending the normal potion. And I just when I moved to the right too fast, I accidentally changed the code here. So yeah. So here we override it by like this, or we can override it normally by just creating another class like so. And in this instance, we're extending potion, overriding activate potion effect, so we should do it like that to make sure. And we also store a field here to know how much we should heal it with. Right, so that's that part. So what if we want to add the thing I spoke about earlier, public class disarm kit that should remove like the mines around us? That's possible. That's obviously not a potion. That's an item. So we extend the item, and we should also put it in the correct package. So package items, and we need to know about the player. So import the player. Units.player, like that. So what do we need? Well, first of all, we need to have a constructor. So public disarm kit, and I'm just actually going to ask for the symbol. So we can do char symbol and name, and that's actually the only things we need. So we just send them along, symbol and name. So this is not going to be an advanced class. So if we wanted to, we could have made it anonymous, just because, well, we're probably just going to use it once. But if we don't want to use it just once, then we obviously make a proper class here. Right. So what's the thing we need to override? Well, that's the public boolean on use, right? That's what it's called, I think. No, it's called UseItem. UseItem. Player. Here we go. So now when we've done this, obviously we need to return something. Let's return true. If we do that, then this is a legit item all of a sudden. Save it. Come on. There you go. So save it here. If I actually extend it properly. There you go. So now it's a legit item, even though it doesn't do anything. So you can of course still override abstract classes with method that doesn't do anything better, really. You can like return false there. But abstract classes make sure that you're adding this method doing something, and then if you do something that is just weird, then it's your own problem. And it might if you do it that in a way that you shouldn't, that you return something that you're not allowed to return, then it might crash because you're not using it properly. But it enforces you to add that method and do something at least. So at the moment, it's not going to do anything anyways, but that's going to be changed, right? Okay, so if we have the player, then we should be able to get the location of the player. I think that's in, or do we? Yeah, we can get that. So what I want to do is int x equals player dot get x, and y equals player dot get y. So to disarm these mines, we should check the surrounding area of the player. So if the player is next to a mine, we can just remove it. And to do so, we can do something like this. So we can do like start at -1, and loop while I is less than or equals to 1. So we loop in the 2 dimensions to check if there's something around the player. J is less than or equals to 1, and then we just increase j like so. Okay. When that has been done, we can get a location in the map. Get location and position. If we do one thing, I don't think that exists, so we need to ask the player which map are you currently in. There's no like method for that, but I don't mind adding that. So sometimes when you code things, you need to add things that you don't have. And if it's your own code and it's totally fine, then you can just add that. Otherwise, you will have to work around it somehow. So just return the map there, so we can use that. So location, we will need to import like what location is, and that is equals to what is it? Player dot get map dot what was it? Get location at position. And if we do use our x coordinate of the player and then the I here, that's going to be sort of the offset. We loop from -1 to +1. That means that we're going from to the left of the player to the right of the player. So x plus I, and then the y coordinate is obviously y plus j. There you go. So now we can get the location, and then we can just check if that's a mine. So if location instance of mine, if that's the case, then we might want to disarm the mine. So how do we disarm the mine? I don't have the mine open here actually. So let's go into world and open mine. Okay, so the mine has a damage and then a symbol here. So what we could do is, like, as you can see here, at some points you have to define extra things to be able to do everything. So we have like reset, which is going to well, remove the mine, and we can use that like so, because we remove it when it explodes as well. So we can just deal damage to the player and then remove it. But if we do it like that, having a specific method called remove, then we can of course go into the disarm kit and tell that, alright, if this is a mine, then we just do mine of location dot remove. So now it's going to remove all the mines around the player. We could do a break, so just remove the first one, but then we're going to return, well, actually that might be easier. So we just return a true. We return a mine. But if we didn't return any mines, well, if we didn't remove any mines, then we can return false, which means that, well, we tried to use this item, but we failed, and therefore you shouldn't remove it because we haven't actually disarmed a mine with it. Sweet. That should work if we actually import the thing. So I said I should, but I forgot about it. World.location, so it knows about that one. And kind of a symbol get location at position in the map. So what's going on with the map? It's called get location at position. Thought I was named it that. No, I must have spelled it wrong. And then we need to import a mine as well as, of course, world dot mine. There we go. That works better. And now it's just a matter of adding the disarm kit somewhere in the map. I think I'm going to add the disarm kit in the house along with all the other items. So let's add it there, and then new, come on, disarm kit, and then we can just give it a symbol of in the map, and then what it's called. And I'm just going to call it disarm kit, and I don't know, let's just use the first letter, so D. Okay, here we go. Now let's run the program and see how it goes. So now it's just a matter of going into the house, grabbing that thing, they go, and go back out again like this. And now if we go to the left, well, we can first try to use it when we're not near a mine. Then if I use the disarm kit, I still have it there. It didn't, nothing happened. We could like add a message there, just, well, no mines nearby. It didn't remove anything. But if we go here, so we're near mine, there we go, near mine. If I show my inventory and use the disarm kit, it's going to be used, and if I go back, that mine is now gone, and if I go there, I'm not going to take any damage whatsoever. So there we go with abstract classes, quite handy in a lot of cases. So we have an item class here which has an abstract method called UseItem, so we don't know how we're going to use an item, and therefore we can't create objects of this class, so we can't create just an item. But then we can extend it like with disarm kit, we can define how this item is going to be used. But we can also extend it with this potion and define how it's going to be used. But in this case we can't make any potions, just because that's abstract as well, because we want to define activate potion effect. But then we have a health potion here that is not abstract, because we're overriding that last abstract method. And finally we also have an anonymous class here called the recall potion or something like that. It's anonymous, so it has no name, and that's also overriding that last abstract method. So we can create 2 health potions here, we create a disarm kit, and then we create this anonymous item here, which is a potion of some sort, but we override that last thing. So that's about it for this first part of the lecture, the part about abstract methods. After the break, we will take a look on generic classes and generic types in general, but that will be in about 15 minutes, so I'll see you then.